All right, so we're going to talk about how to cut your paper down to get ready for printing. You're going to need a ruler, and a 24-inch ruler is a good size. You'll need a very sharp exacto knife, a pencil, and a right angle. Okay. You're also going to need a cutting mat, and of course your piece of paper that you're going to cut. You're going to cut it down to the size of what your print's going to be, right? So here's an example of a print, and this print has a 2-inch border. So the image is 6 by 6. So if it has a 2-inch border, you're going to add 2 inches to each side, making it a 10 by 10, right? So let's look at this block right here. This is a 6 by 8 block. So if I'm going to add a 1-inch border to this, you're not going to add just 1 inch to each side, because then that will leave you with a 1/2 inch border. So you're going to add 1 inch to each side. So if it's a 6 by 8, it's going to be an 8 by 10, right? 6 plus 2, 8 plus 2, and that's how you get your 1-inch border. And so you have to sort of do a little bit of simple math to get your paper size before you get in and get ready to start cutting your paper. Okay, so we are going to cut our paper size down today. We're going to cut it to a 7 by 9. So when you're holding your piece of paper, it's wise to look at it and see, how am I going to get the most small pieces out of my one big piece, right? So if we're looking at it, I think it's wise to do the 7-inch mark on your short side and your 9-inch mark on the long side, okay? You're going to take your ruler and you're going to line it up at the bottom. From the edge, you'll take your pencil and we're going to just mark it at the 9. Just a tiny little pencil mark at the 9. You don't need to draw a big, giant pencil mark. And then we're going to do it at 18. Then I'm going to come to the top and I'm going to do the same thing. So you shouldn't be able to see these marks on the video at all. You don't need a whole pencil line to see where you're going to cut. So once you have your marks on each end of your paper, you're going to line your ruler up to each mark. This ruler is a thicker ruler. It's not as flexible as some of the cheaper or just different rulers that you might have. So you may want to invest in a kind of a more sturdy ruler, so that way when you're cutting, you can cut against it and it won't move quite as easily, right? Line up your ruler from your line to your line, and then you're going to take your exacto knife, make sure you're lined up, make sure you hold your ruler down so that it doesn't move. And then you're going to take your knife and you're just going to score it. Once you've cut both marks, you're going to come up with strips. So now that we have our paper cut into strips, we're just going to take our right angle and we're going to make a couple of marks, and we're going to cut off that deckled edge. And the reason that we're going to do that is just so that we can make sure that we have a right angle and that our paper is good and square. This is really important for registration purposes. So as you can see right here, I'm taking my exacto knife and I am just scoring the paper until it comes off. And now I'm just going to take the ruler and I'm going to make my marks at the top and the bottom of the paper, just like we did before, except for now we're measuring on the short side. And you can see here that we have a very small strip. It's like 1 inch of scrap paper, so keep that in mind, that just the best way to cut your paper so that you have minimal amount of scraps. Just remember that when you're scoring your paper, that you don't have to push down hard. You just want to go over it multiple times, and once you feel your razor hit your cutting mat, you'll know when your paper is cut, and there you go. Voila, how to cut your paper.